Alright, so y'all probably thought I ran out of videos to make about the MK7 GTI and stuff, right? Never. I'm gonna milk this car as much as I can. So stay tuned and don't sleep on it. So today I'm actually in the 500 horsepower GTI.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god.
And I'm gonna go over some of the quirks and features about it for those of you that are thinking about getting a car, or you just got the car. You might learn something new or find something interesting about it. I know Doug whatever, this guy, he did a quirks and features video of a 2018-2019 Golf R, and a lot of the features do cross over to the GTIs as well, but this is going to be an even in-depth video of the quirks and features. So let's go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is go into the infotainment system, and it's crazy the amount of people that say they can't find this or don't know where it is. And I'm talking about the performance monitor. Okay, so what you do is you press car, and then you go to selection, and it's sport. And if you don't have it, then you just don't have it. If you have it, that's how you get to it. People with the MIB1 infotainment system do not have it. And that means if you don't have a touchscreen, most of the early model 2015 do not have it. This is a 2016 base model GTI. So just to give you that for reference. So the performance monitor is actually a pretty nice touch. The boost gauge is not accurate though. It doesn't account for atmospheric pressure. So you got like minus 14 point something psi to get an accurate reading, but you actually get to scroll through different gauges, so it's pretty interesting. For example, you get an oil temperature, boost gauge, G meter, I think this is water temperature, and then kilowatts. So like I assume that's like the horsepower in kilowatts. If you want people to actually respect you and you want to let them know that you're about it, then what you do is put up 3 boost gauges, because this is a performance car, because it has a performance monitor. This is not a regular ass Golf. This is a GTI. If you go into the vehicle settings, you actually get some pretty cool things you can configure. For example, you actually get to configure the ECS here, activated or off. I just leave mine off all the time. If you put air into your tires, you actually get to set the tire pressure monitoring system, so that if it drops below a certain PSI, it'll give you a warning that a tire is low. If you go into lights, I actually don't know what convenience indicating is, but for the interior lighting, the door ambient lighting is that red stripe along the door and the door frame on the floor, and I just turn that up max. And footwell lighting is obviously the footwell lighting. You can turn that on or off. I just turn that off. In the mirror and wiper settings, you actually get to configure if you want to wipe the rear window every time you go into reverse. So every time you go into reverse, the rear wiper will wipe for you, assuming that you have like dirt on it to help you see better, I guess. In the open and close settings for the window operation, most people actually need to go into their car and code the key fob with the window opening with the OBD11. But when you do, you get to select either all windows, driver windows, or just turn it off. And for central locking, you actually get to pick if you want to unlock all doors, single door, or vehicle side doors when you click on the key fob. Lock automatically is when the car reaches 10 miles per hour, all the doors will lock. And acoustic confirmation is the honk when you get to lock the car. In the instrument cluster, you actually get to adjust what you want to see when you go through the settings in the dash. I actually just turn most of these off because I don't really care about it. If you go back to the menu and you go to setup, this is actually different from vehicle systems, from vehicle settings. This is actually, I guess, the system settings. But if you go on display, you get to adjust the brightness and the day and night of the display and touchscreen tone, which is basically just a beep every time you touch something in the car. For the animations on touchscreen, this here is actually like a infrared bar or something like that, but it detects if you're close to it. And with that on, you actually get like different pop-ups. So if I'm not touching the performance monitor for a while, see how it changes. But if I get close to it, and that works for everything. So if you go to media, see it kind of changes, but if you get close, changes back for it opens the settings ready for you to adjust or whatever. And then the display time and standby mode is actually kind of a nice touch. You know how luxury cars, instead of a digital time, they have an actual analog clock. So if you turn that on and turn the screen off, you actually get an analog clock. So that's a neat feature. So for the wipers, you actually cannot just pull them out like this to like clean them or whatever, because the blocks it, because I guess this is a a German car, which requires German fucking inconvenience, I guess. So the way to actually do this is you have your key in the ignition and turn it not to where the battery's on, but the one right before that. So I guess whatever that's called, intermission or whatever. So once you do that, you kind of hit the wiper stock one time, and then your wipers kind of stay up in what they call the service mode, and you can change the blades, pull them out to clean them and whatever. The next thing I want to go over is actually the different cool storage compartments you get here for some reason. So apparently this is for coins. I guess you put like 1 quarter each or whatever. In New York, that's like 10 minutes of street parking. And here it's supposed to be for cards, but what I put is I put a picture of myself. So if somebody ever steals my car and they say, hey, is this actually a car? I'm like, yeah, there's a picture of me next to my car. So if you go in the glove compartment, sorry, don't mind those. I get stuck in traffic sometimes and I gotta take a shit in my car. But over here you get SD card slots to put, just to store them. And this is actually the slot to put the SD card into whatever you want into your infotainment system. So like music or pictures or whatever. And this is the CD slot. Over there is 2 more card slots for, I guess, 2 more cards, or you could put 2 more pictures of yourself next to your car. And that's 1 more for, I guess, another 1 more coin. If you go on like the underside of the glove compartment, like on the actual thing, you get like 4 more slots for, I guess, 4 more quarters, basically. And then on the other side, you get there's a little, I guess, card holder or something like that, if you can see that. So under the driver's seat, there's actually a secret pull-out compartment, or I guess not too secret now that I told everyone, but yeah, it's a pull-out drawer, and it's actually pretty spacious. And you know, I like to keep some of my most hidden and secretive stuff in there, and most of the time people don't even know it's there, and it's only under the driver's seat. I try to find one for the passenger seat. I couldn't find one. I guess you just couldn't install it, but yeah. Another storage compartment is actually right here, above like your left knee, I guess, right next to the steering wheel. It's just a pull-out drawer, little cubby. I guess you can put coins and whatnot. I like to keep my dash cam Power Magic Pro in there. But if you read about it and you know you kind of have a lot of these things to put, you actually can fit some of these in here as well, if you can see right there. And yeah, I guess nobody else will know either. So coming around to the trunk of the car, there's actually a little compartment right here on the actual trunk, and I think it's for the traffic triangles, the reflective triangle that you put out if you're ever stuck or pulled over or whatever. I think it's like mandatory in Europe to have one in your car, but not so sure for the US. But if you're really about it, you actually can just put some of this here, lock it up, and you're good to go. All right, hopefully you guys can see this or understand what I'm trying to say here. So basically, most people that get the car, right, this is how your trunk looks like, right? But did you know there's actually a second level to it? What you do is kind of just pull it up, and you can actually slide it down, insert this on the lower level, and your trunk gets way bigger. You get way more space. And yeah, and under here also is your spare tire. For those of you that were curious, spare tire, jack. The golf cars don't have it. Fucking losers. This is where you put your subwoofer for the golf cars. But yeah, so basically, if you want to put it back to the original level, I don't know why anybody would want to do that. That's, you kind of just slide it in. To take it back out, you kind of just forcefully pull it up, slide it down to the second level, and there you go. Your trunk is way deeper. You get way more space now. Also guys, BTW, FYI, ABCDE, do not lose this trunk cover, because I googled it out of curiosity to see how much it would be to replace. It's like $120 something OEM to replace this, and there's really no other option other than to buy the OEM one for this trunk cover. So yeah, keep that in mind. So out here in the trunk again, this logo is actually the lever, or I guess the handle to open the hatch. And I honestly don't know why they made it like this, because I feel like it's super flimsy, and one of these days I'm just gonna pull it right off, and it's gonna be such an expensive replacement. Also, I guess for the people that don't know, for some reason, this is actually also where the rear view mirror comes out when you put it in reverse, and it only comes out when you put it in reverse. So if you look at it under, like right now, there's no camera or anything under it. It only comes out when you put it in reverse. which is, I guess, also a great thing because, you know, it doesn't get scratched, it doesn't get damaged by the weather or anything like that. It's pretty genius of Volkswagen. So the last piece of storage is actually this armrest. And for the GTIs, it opens, but for some reason, the Golf Rs and stuff, it don't open. You have to buy some kind of special kit on ECS to install it. But the cubby's not too big. But the cool thing is this one actually ricochets, like I think that's what they call it. But yeah, you can have like half open it to rest your arm, or you can pull it all the way out to rest your arm more. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool. And also like the stitching, it matches the rest of the car. But yeah, for the Golf Rs, for some reason, it doesn't open and you gotta buy some kind of special kit. But GTIs, you were good to go. So this last tip is actually for the DSG people. And if you don't have a DSG, carry yourself. I mean, like, why don't you have one? Do you just want to lose races and stuff? But basically, let's say you're driving in D mode, right? And normally, if you want to go into like manual mode to shift by yourself, you would have to kind of put the lever to the right and stuff. But actually, what you actually can do is, as you're driving along in D mode and you want to downshift for whatever reason, you actually can just hold the lever in D mode, and it just downshifts automatically and gives you control manually without having to go into the shift knob and move it and stuff. So let's say you're going up a hill and you want to downshift, you just pull it down, it'll downshift, and then after a while it'll kind of just go back to D mode. And also, let's say you're driving, right, and you kind of want to be a dig bag or something, and you kind of just want to downshift or go into sport mode. Normally you would kind of press the mode, go into mode or individual or whatever, right? But let's say you're normal and you just want to downshift, you actually can just pull it once and it'll change the transmission from D to sport, and just the transmission, not the steering, nothing else. But yeah, and it'll actually downshift pretty quick. Like if you're like cruising in 6 and you put it in sport, it'll actually just downshift from 6 to 4th right away. And this last tip, so let's say you're driving in manual mode, right, and you're going down or slowing down from like 6th gear to 60 miles per hour, slowing down, and you actually don't have to, you know, downshift every single time manually. What you can do is just slow down and just press on the brake, and the car will automatically downshift for you, and it'll do a lot quicker and more efficiently than you probably can do it too. Like let's say you're in 6th gear and you're slowing down, right? If you get below, I think like 1,000 or around 1,000 RPM, the car would just automatically start downshifting for you. So, and it will skip gears too. It'll go from like 6th to 4th to 2nd, and if you come to a complete stop, it'll go to 1. Wait, my bad. That was not the last tip. This is the last tip. Also for DSG people, a quick tip: if you're driving in manual mode, it's actually a lot smoother if you downshift while you're giving it gas, if that makes sense. And it's a lot smoother shifting up when you let off the gas, if that makes sense. Because what I read in a forum is that how the DSG thinks is that when you're giving it gas, right, it'll think you want more power, so therefore it'll spin up the previous gear. So when you downshift, it'll actually be a lot smoother. And when you let off the gas, the DSG will assume that you want to start saving gas, be more economical, and it'll start spinning up the next highest gear. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. That's all the quirks and features I could think of. And if you've learned something new, or if you found something super interesting, let me know in the comments. Or if you know something that I didn't mention, also let me know in the comments. And yeah, until next time, see you guys in the next one.